All right, Damian, what is your topic?
Birds aren't real.
My audience, are you ready?
Nope.
Damian, are you ready?
And proceed.
So we've all heard of conspiracy theories. Some of our popular ones like the Earth is flat, the moon landing was fake, there's a hidden room behind Mount Rushmore. But today I'm going to be talking about the conspiracy that birds aren't real. Now, birds aren't real was a popular conspiracy back in 2017. It lasted a good 2-3 years before it started to die down. And so I'm going to be talking about how birds aren't real started, how it became popular, and then how it's currently doing today. So back in 2017, 24-year-old college dropout Peter McIndoe was chilling in his apartment when all of a sudden outside his window, he could hear and see a women's march going on. Now, of course, this was back in 2017 when, Trump got elected and, there's a whole bunch of marches going on and stuff. So he thought it would be funny if he held up a sign and talked about how the deep state had replaced birds with drones. It was meant as a small act of satire, but has become a mass movement, stated The Guardian in April 2022. So that's what he did. He went down out of his apartment, he wrote "Birds aren't real" on a sign, and he went to join the march. Now, I will show what people think birds look like, or because of course they don't think that they're real. So of course you got the camera, got how it charges and all that. So that's what birds aren't real. People believe that birds look like. But yeah, after he joins the march, and this is also what Peter McIndoe looks like, just but yeah, after joining the march, when people ask him what it meant, birds aren't real, because of course it has nothing to do with the march. He just said he'd been a part of this sort of like group for the last 50 years that believe that all birds have been replaced by government drones, about 50 million of them for 50 years. And just trying to be recording all that, and then after that he would post the video on social media platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and like Facebook, which is in turn how it became so viral. And then after that, they wanted to start making more videos on it to show or make it seem like it had been around for a long period of time. So they hired paid actors and they made more videos, and of course they uploaded them on the social media platforms, and specifically TikTok gained millions and millions of views. So of course this is what he would have seen at the thing. This is another one of the things that they would have held, because of course after it became viral, they held lots of like events, which this would be one of the events you would have seen. A whole bunch of people came on signs when birds aren't real. And after that, of course, they started posting more on social media platforms to get more events. They posted a whole bunch of post events on all this, and they also made billboards all around to spread the thing that birds aren't real. In a post-truth world dominated by online conspiracy theories, young people have coalesced around the efforts to thumb their nose at, fight, and poke fun at misinformation, declared the New York Times in 2023. So, birds aren't real. Was you could say mostly aimed towards teens as a sort of like relief from life, like a fun conspiracy to be a part of that isn't so, I want to say, enforced. Because of course, when you think of like other conspiracy theories, they strongly believe in that. But when it comes to birds aren't real, you don't necessarily have to believe in it. It's just a fun thing to be a part of. Now, of course, this is another one of the marches, but if you can see, most of them are going to be adults, since adults have the time and money to be able to go to these events. But it's still mostly like a safe thing for teens to be a part of. University of Miami, March 2022, states that even though the social movement is a parody, at times McIndoe is given the impression in interviews on YouTube that he truly believes in the theory. And that's another thing about it, is that people say he has a split personality, where there's a side where he strongly believes in birds aren't real, and shows that in his interviews. But then, of course, you just have the side that believes that birds are real. And though the movement has held rallies across the country and other in-person stunts, birds aren't real is quintessentially an online joke. According to USA Today, the Bible 2022. Now, of course, it is what it is. It's meant as a satire, it's meant as a joke, because of course, the guy made it up from that march back in 2017. But it's still meant to be, a fun thing to be a part of. And currently today, there is still sort of stuff going on about it, but not as much anymore. Even Peter McIndoe said that he would be stopping it, or he would be leaving Birds Aren't Real within the next year or two. So we should be seeing Birds Aren't Real be getting done within the next year or two. And that is the history of Birds Aren't Real.
Okay.
5:26, 85 hours so close. 5:26 is time. Don't worry, it uses this. Apparently it does that, to scare us. Put all this hard work into it and then it throws us the error message. That was really funny. The billboard had birds on top of it. Hands of double receiving. Yeah, I took both you guys, the two best people in the audience, that's like 50% less on. I don't know, math, well, somewhere in that range. I think you have to take it out of the case in order to fit it in. Damian, after you've reviewed your rubrics, you can put those here. I got your full sentence outline on one side, so just throw them on that side. On the folder.
Can I have someone's iPad for my presentation? Sure.
I was watching the videos yesterday and very impressed that you guys just took that by the horns and figured that out on your own. Really appreciate that. The sharing of iPads. Okay. Thank you.
Let's look at zoom in on this. I look a bit small on mine. Like really
Yeah,
small.
on the MyPad, that's why I got it pulled forward so far. We could do this number. Yeah, on the MyPad, it is a little bit smaller. So. That's what we have to, we don't want to do it.
No, alright. Lars, what is your topic?
Navy boot camp.
Alright, audience, are you ready? Ben, are you ready?
Yeah.
And proceed.
It started calmly. We arrived at the airport and they put us on a bus. While we were driving to Great Lakes, they showed us a video. Everybody was so nice, so friendly, telling us boot camp is a quick 8 weeks. When the bus got to the processing center, an officer asked us, "Are you guys ready?" We were all thinking, this isn't gonna be so bad. When that same officer suddenly exploded, he said screaming, "Then get off my bus! Get out! Get out!" That was Will Cortez's experience in 2010.
New recruits show up to boot camp every year. Boot camp is one of the many programs funded by the United States defense budget. In 2019, the National Priorities Project found that 24% of taxes from the IRS goes to the national defense budget. Every dollar you give to the IRS, 24 cents of that goes to the defense budget, which pays for programs such as boot camp. So either as taxpayers or future taxpayers, we are or will be paying for boot camp. And this is why I'm going to be telling you about how boot camp is a life-changing experience that prepares sailors for what they will encounter during service. And to do this, I will be discussing why boot camp is mandatory for all sailors, what goes on in boot camp to prepare sailors for experience, and what will eventually be asked of them during service. So first, let's understand why boot camp is mandatory. Boot camp is needed to weed out the recruits who are less motivated in becoming a sailor. If they have any doubt in their mind about becoming a sailor, they may hesitate during service, and that hesitation is going to put lives at risk, as well as screening for health injuries. Anything physical, such as lung disease or heart problems or anything that could be wrong with your muscles, will also endanger the crew on a ship. This is why they will screen you before and after boot camp every year, as was discussed by Dr. Janie Vara in 2021. Boot camp is mandatory to prepare sailors mentally for any hardships that will be expected of them and they will go through during service. So now that we understand why boot camp is mandatory, I will be discussing how it actually prepares them for service. Navy boot camp is designed to break your individuality, as any veteran will tell you, such as those in the retired Colonel Jack Jacobs' book he wrote in 2012 titled Surviving Boot Camp and Basic Training. This boot camp features many anecdotes of veterans and their experience in boot camp. One of those was when they got back from marching, they all had to move the rocks from one side of the road to the other. Every single rock that they could find, they had to move it for hours to the other side of the road. And then the very next day, they had to move them all back. This is designed to break individuality because you will question your leadership, but you'll learn that in doing so, you will endanger yourself as you would be forced into possibly physical injury if you overwork yourself, as well as build mental endurance. You have to be ready to withstand anything. Another experience of this in Jack Jacobs's book was there's one recruit who was standing in formation, but a horsefly landed on the back of their leg. All the drill instructors were goading them on to scratch it or get rid of it or shake their leg, but they didn't. The crew understood the assignment that they had, which was to endure the pain of the horsefly. Because as they said, the drill instructors said, if you're in the jungle and you have an enemy in front of you and you're aiming down the gun, you cannot just move to scratch a bug. You cannot scratch any itch because it could give away your position and endanger others, as well as physical training such as marching, which is designed to get you in tune with everyone else in your unit. And now to what Navy training prepares you for. There are many military standards, as the previously mentioned Dr. Janie Barr stated, such as the load carriage. You have to, in missions, be ready to equip a lot of supplies with you, such as weapons, armor, and other things related to your mission. And this can weigh from 20 to 70 kilograms or 40 to 160 pounds, as well as the manual material handling. In the Navy, this will include moving shells between guns on a battleship or moving heavy beams to support walls. And finally, casualty evacuation. If a fellow mate gets injured, you have to carry them out of the war zone to safety. And they have to be ready to carry 130 to 180 pounds up to 600 feet away. And as my father, who I interviewed, as he is an ex-Navy sailor, described to me in 2023, in the Navy, you will also have to be prepared for a deep water jump, where you have to jump off of a high surface, and my father's experience, that was 50 feet, and will have to resurface from the dive unassisted. And finally, a prone float, which will be 5 minutes with your head in the water floating at surface. This is in case you ever are underwater and have to hold your breath. Today I have discussed why boot camp is mandatory, how it trains you, and what it trains you for during service. Boot camp is a life-changing experience that prepares all sailors for service. And going back to the sailors and to the previously mentioned Jack Jacobs' book, these create memories for veterans that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. Thank you.
Thank you. I got 556.
Yep.